I'm not going to sugarcoat it, I'm going to keep it real. Anime Awards for Crunchyroll has notoriously been known to be bad in the anime community, and outright just clowned on for years now, ever since they first started. However, despite all of this, I think that it still leads to a lot of discussion, interesting topics, and a lot of people go out of their way to discover new series that are probably in these different categories that they never would have checked out in the first place. And I think if there is one takeaway from the Anime Awards that we should take every single year, is that it does lead to a lot of active discussion on these topics. So I think it is a really good thing that Crunchyroll does this. I just think by the way it is handled, it's obviously not handled right. I don't know necessarily, I can't give, let's say, options to maybe fix this, but I do think that, at least currently, by the way these awards are done, they're fundamentally flawed in a lot of areas. But there is something that does need to be stated. Regardless if these anime awards for Crunchyroll all these years were done really well, proper judges, everything, like everything was absolutely pretty much at the state of perfection, there would still be a large chunk of the anime community that would be upset. And the reason for that is because when you have a bunch of different series competing with each other in these different categories, there's always going to be a group that is going to be upset. Because, let's just do an example here. If you, let's say, had Chainsaw Man versus Bleach for, let's say, Best Anime of the Year, one group is going to be upset. It's the truth. Like, if Chainsaw Man's group loses to Bleach, Chainsaw Man fans are going to be upset. If Bleach loses to Chainsaw Man, Bleach fans are going to be upset. There's never any winning necessarily with these type of categories, but at the same time, one thing that we can also agree on is that it does allow people to check other series out. And I think that is a big takeaway from this. Now, let's get into this. Let's go over what won what, and let's talk about maybe some flaws, maybe with what was chosen, or at least my personal perspective on the results, because obviously, everything about this video is going to be my biased opinion. I want to keep it real, not going to sugarcoat it. I'm going to be biased, because obviously, I'm biased, I'm human. Simple as that. Now, one thing I do want to state, from my current understanding, this awards for Crunchyroll, they completely cut out the fall season of anime. For instance, the season that had Bocchi the Rock, Bleach, Chainsaw Man, etc. Like, one of the best anime seasons in a very long time. Crunchyroll decided to cut that season completely out from this entire award show, which is questionable, because that would mean that they're going to add that stuff to probably this year's, for 2023 later on for when it comes out next year. They're going to add Chainsaw Man and Bleach and all that for it, which I think, once again, what's going to happen is that Chainsaw Man and probably Bleach and all other type of anime is just going to completely sweep and take over almost every single category. So I understand why maybe they wanted to remove it. I can understand that degree, but it's not going to stop the inevitable from happening, to where it's going to be a popularity contest, and those series are obviously going to straight up just win. That's the truth. That is 100% the cold, harsh truth when they eventually do get added to be able to be voted on. Now, besides that, let's actually talk about this. So let's go down. So, Anime of the Year was Cyberpunk. And the categories, or the anime it was going up against, at least from what was selected, or the nominees, was Demon Slayer. I'll talk about that in a second. Demon Slayer, Attack on Titan, Lycos Recoil, Ranking of Kings, and Spy Family. And I want to talk about this real quick. Core 2. I am not a fan of how Crunchyroll uses cores as, like, this segment that they want to vote on. Just do the whole anime. I've never liked how they handle this, and if there is one fundamental flaw I have always disliked about these awards for them, is that they just don't count the whole thing. And I think that is just that's kind of wrong, because I remember last year when there was awards for, like, Best Anime and Mushoku was there, like Mushoku Tensei, they didn't count the second half. They legit completely axed the, core 2 of Mushoku Tensei, and they only counted the first core. And it's just like, really? Like, really? Like, it was just very dumbfounding, and obviously Mushoku had stood no chance probably of winning. Even though it was a really good first core, it stood no chance when you compare it to the second core that was just absolutely incredible. And so, like, I never really liked how Crunchyroll handles these dual cores, or multi-core series. I don't know, I'm not a big fan of that. I really am not. So I feel like this automatically put Ranking of Kings at a disadvantage, just counting half the series. It's like, really? Now, another thing too is, I want to talk about, this situation with Demon Slayer. Let's be honest here. I have no anger or animosity towards Demon Slayer. In fact, I think that it should be praised. I do. I think that, for one, Demon Slayer has proven time and time again it's very popular, made a lot of sales. Movie recently just came out, it's still doing very well. Demon Slayer obviously has a lot of staying power, people love the series. And even if you want to hate it, the cold, harsh truth of the matter is that it's popular. And also, because of how popular it is, there will be a group of people that do not like the series and think it shouldn't win anything. And do I think that Demon Slayer should wipe and win everything? No. And if you want me to be honest, truly honest about Demon Slayer, I don't think it's a bad series, but I don't think it is the best thing ever since sliced bread. I don't. I think that it is a very average story done very well by an anime company. That's the truth. That is my cold, harsh opinion on it. I think it's done very well, and it's been brought to life in such a way that obviously people just cannot look away from it. And if there's one thing that this whole Anime Awards category basically lets me know, is that animation truly does carry pretty much every one of these categories. If it looks good, it's probably going to win. That's at least from my understanding of what I could see from all these different categories. That is a big indication factor. Now, anyways, let's talk about Cyberpunk. So, since Cyberpunk won, obviously, I have nothing against Cyberpunk for winning. I would think, yeah, I would myself, if we're going by these nominees of what is here on this list, and I'm not adding in, let's say, Summertime Renderer, or Chainsaw Man, Bleach, Bocchi the Rock, etc., yeah, I would definitely 100% either go for Cyberpunk or Lycris Recoil. I think those two are absolutely fantastic, and I definitely think that in terms of outliners for the year, they definitely stood out. I definitely think that those two series alone definitely deserve probably Anime of the Year. Now, if we're counting my personal pick of the year, like if we're throwing in my bias, I would probably say Bocchi. I'd probably say Bocchi the Rock would be Anime of the Year, because I really liked Bocchi, and I think Bocchi did a really good job. It's a new age K-On! In my opinion. I really like it, and that would be my Anime of the Year. So let's talk about the best original anime, which Lycris Recoil is the one that won, and when you look at, what it goes up against, it makes sense. I mean, legitimately, these are some pretty good series in their own right, but when you really want to compare it up against, let's say, Lycris, it's a clear winner. Art was on point, animation was on point, voice acting was on point, story beats were on point, it had that nice little amount of Yuri bait for people. It was just a fundamentally fun series, and I will say, it was legit a good series. That's probably some bias there, 100%, but I think that Lycris Recoil was legitimately a good anime, and it was definitely a series that really took the internet by storm. Came out of nowhere, people were hyping it up, people were excited, and it just gradually grew a community, and obviously we're going to be getting continuation in some form. And I'm happy to always see an anime original doing very well and selling well, etc. That's always good news. So, Lycris Recoil, I have no problem necessarily with it being for Best Original. I think that in terms of the awards so far, easily the best choice. Hands down. Now, going into Best Anime Character Design. This one... okay. Like I said a moment ago, like probably 5 minutes ago, I said that if there is one thing you're going to get from this whole list, you're going to definitely see that, once again, it's proven that this is a popularity contest. But secondly, all of these categories, regardless if it's not even about, let's say, animation or art, which this one technically is since it's character design, all these categories are carried by just eye candy. How beautiful the show looks. And that is what will decide who wins or who doesn't. That's what it really comes down to fundamentally. And when I look at, the best character design and what was going up against, basically, who won and all that, getting to see, which character and all that, and seeing what was going up against who, it's just like... I really am shocked Demon Slayer won over, let's say something like My Dress Up Darling, JoJo, even Cyberpunk. That shocked me. And even Ranking of Kings. I think that, the designs are really different. I could see arguments against Dress Up Darling because obviously it follows that standard design decisions, and even Spy Family does as well. But if we're talking about legitimately unique designs for anime for the last year alone, Ranking of Kings, JoJo, and Cyberpunk had some legitimately different designs for characters that looked very different, very unique, and definitely something that stood out to me in color and all of that. And one thing I think that really harmed JoJo is what I talked about last year quite a bit, is that JoJo, obviously nobody talked about it. It was handled very poorly by Netflix, the release of it, to the ads for it. Just not a lot of people really watch JoJo. It's the truth. It's legit the truth. There's no denying how JoJo was handled. Nobody can. And the thing is that because of probably that, a lot of these people that probably either was voting through the fan polls to maybe the judges that voted on this probably didn't even watch JoJo. That's probably the truth. I'm willing to bet you most of them didn't even watch JoJo because of just how hard it was to actually watch it or remember it was even out in the first place. And Cyberpunk, I am just shocked in terms of what's here. Cyberpunk lost because you're not going to tell me, and I know it comes down to personal taste, but you're not going to tell me in terms of the Cyberpunk and unique designs of the world and the character designs that Cyberpunk is less unique in terms of design than Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer is literally a Japanese setting with just, imaginary, elements on their blades and stuff. I believe that was what was stated, that all the elements and stuff you see on the blades, like water or whatever, is just in their mind, so to speak. And it's like, you're not telling me that this Japanese setting with standard-looking characters, nothing against them, they look really good, is better than maybe these very unique designs from these other characters. Call me molding or salty, but I think that's just, really. And then Ranking of Kings, too, is straight up unique. Like, I talked about it in my first impressions. Ranking of Kings looked like a Studio Ghibli film, brought to life. It was really unique. I loved Ranking of Kings. And once again, Core 2. That angers me. Legit seeing Core 2 here. But, yeah, I completely disagree with this. If I had to say what was the best designs, I would probably either give it to JoJo or Cyberpunk, if we're going by this list. I think Dress Up Darling, in terms of the standard designs of characters, did better than Demon Slayer, because obviously it goes into cosplaying, and I think designs of characters are definitely very important for Dress Up Darling, since it is literally about cosplay. So, I don't know, it'd be one of these two I would declare as my winners if I was to say best for anime character design. Now, going on to best animation. Who would have guessed? Demon Slayer again. I mean, we might as well just call this the Demon Slayer Awards. Anytime Demon Slayer comes out for a given year, Demon Slayer always sweeps these categories. Every single time. Go back and look yourself. It's the truth. They always sweep everything. And this is what, Demon Slayer is going up against. Akabi, Attack on Titan, Cyberpunk, Ranking of Kings, and Spy Family. And I want to point something out. There's a lot of same in all these categories. I really do want to point this out. When it kind of comes into the real big stuff, like Best Animation Art, it's all the same. Spy Family will be here, you'll have Cyberpunk, you'll have Attack on Titan, Demon Slayer, and Ranking of Kings. It's always the same. There's not any uniqueness. You don't see, Summertime Renderer from last year. You don't see, once again, Dress Up Darling really appearing for this, besides, this one category. You don't get to see, any of, these series that were really under the radar and kind of really stood out in terms of art and animation. Hell, even I would put One Piece here. I would even put One Piece a part of this category, because One Piece, don't like it if you don't like it. You're not going to tell me One Piece looked bad last year. It looked really good. So the fact that even One Piece is here, really? It's just huh? But, I mean, look, Akabi, I watched the show. I like Akabi. I really do like it. And I think that, once again, this is another unfortunate circumstance. Most of the judges and the fans that were voting on this poll never even watched the show. I'm willing to bet you most people that voted in the polls never even watched that show, has no idea what it's about, never got to really see the art and animation, which is absolutely stunning. And it's sad. Now, do I think it's as good as the others, like Cyberpunk and probably even Demon Slayer, etc.? No. I do think that Demon Slayer does have good animation. And I definitely think if there's anything that is warranted, would definitely be this category. I would agree on that. But once again, it's just really, out of all this, that's really it. It's just, I don't know. But I can agree with this category to an extent, because Demon Slayer did look really good. It does. There's no denying that one. But that's just, I just wanted to point that out. Now, going down to Best New Anime Series. So, Best New Anime Series that basically aired last year. Lycris, Dress Up Darling, Ya Boy Kong Ming, Cyberpunk, and Call of the Night. Obviously, Spy Family wins. And once again, showcasing popularity contest. That's exactly what this is. It's not necessarily about what really was probably the best new series. It just comes down to what was the most popular. And obviously, once again, my bias is showing, I don't think necessarily Spy Family was the best new anime for last year. I don't. I do not think that. 100%, I do not think that whatsoever. Hell, I would dare say Lycris Recoil would deserve that category. Or Ya Boy Kong Ming or Dress Up Darling. I just think Spy Family, obviously, just very popular, looked very good, and, you know, that's why it won the Best Anime New Series. But, once again, makes sense why it won popularity. But, I would think that if I was to vote in this category, I would probably say my personal favorite from last year, I would give my Dress Up Darling. 100% I would give it if I'm going from this category. Now, if we're going through Best New Anime from last year, if I'm not counting fall season, we're going with Crunchyroll's logic. I would probably say Summertime Renderer. I would probably say that would be my actual, what I would choose. Now, Best Continuing Anime Series. One Piece. I think that, once again, this is a very solid category. This is what I would pick, 100%. If I was to pick something out of this list, I mean, we have Demon Slayer, Attack on Titan, JoJo, Kaguya-sama, Made in Abyss, I would probably say One Piece. Because One Piece, love it or hate it, say whatever you want about it, nobody's gonna deny just how outright incredible One Piece looked last year. It did. I saw it all the time being talked about, and it has definitely looked better than it ever has in a very long time. And so I would definitely agree that One Piece deserves this. I have no problems whatsoever with it. I'm happy to see One Piece get an award, because I think it definitely does deserve it. So yeah. Now, Best Anime Opening Sequence. Now, this is what it was going up against. So, Attack on Titan 1, obviously. It was going up against Ya Boy Kong Ming, Spy Family, Ranking of Kings Core 2, Cyberpunk, and Demon Slayer. Once again, basically the same exact anime. Not a lot of variety when you really look at all these categories. Like, you don't even see, like, Overlord, which Overlord was, you know, last year as well. Even a part of this is like, really, Overlord's not there? They even go as far as to count Mushoku Tensei later on in this. And the fact that they don't even count Mushoku Tensei as well, it's just like, wow. I really do like this opening for Attack on Titan. Legit. I really like the rumbling. I think it's a great song. I think that it definitely is a very catchy tune that I listen to quite a bit. Now, if we're comparing it to all of these different series, now I'm ranking this from my personal bias of what I listened to on repeat last year. I really like the Spy Family opening. That Spy Family opening song was really, really good. Really loved it, hands down. I think the Demon Slayer one was really good. I love the Cyberpunk one as well. I mean, obviously, Ranking of Kings was good too. These are all good. Even, you know, Ya Boy Kong Ming. They all had really good music. If I had to say my personal favorite, I would probably go maybe with... You know, I probably would go with Attack on Titan, actually. If I'm going from this category, I would actually agree with Attack on Titan winning. I really liked that opening song. It was good. Yeah. And if I was to not choose that, I would probably go with Spy Family. I really like Spy Family here. Now, if we're going by my actual favorite song, opening song from last year, it would probably be Summertime Renderer's opening. And if not that, the Overlord opening. One of those two is what I would choose for my favorite or best anime opening sequence for last year. Now, best anime ending sequence. So we have Spy Family. I really like Spy Family's ending song. I do think that this definitely is warranted here. I really see nothing wrong with the ending sequence being Spy Family. Now, I do think that My Dress Up Darling was really good. Komi was good. I mean, Kaguya was good. Attack on Titan was good. These are all really good choices, once again. But I would probably, if I was to give the award to anyone, I would do Call of the Night. I think that Call of the Night had a better ending sequence. I love the very vibe of the ending song, so I would 100% give it to that. But I don't see anything necessarily wrong with, you know, Spy Family winning. Now, best anime score. So, Attack on Titan wins, obviously. I mean, nobody's gonna deny Sawano isn't a good composer, like, straight up great music. I mean, anytime that Sawano's a part of an anime, usually the music is a banger. Like, there's no contest. So, I could obviously understand why Attack on Titan won this award. But, if we're looking at the other stuff, like Demon Slayer, Made in Abyss, Ya Boy Kong Ming, Cyberpunk, Spy Family, there's two series in general that stand out to me. Made in Abyss and Cyberpunk. And the fact that Made in Abyss lost is a little bit sad, because I think that Kevin here does tremendous work with Made in Abyss. Like, straight up, some of the best musical score I've heard in a long time for anime. Very distinct, very different, really has such a mystical vibe to it that just different. And I think that if there was someone that should have honestly won, should have been Made in Abyss. Kevin should have won, because legit, really good composer for music, and it's sad to see Made in Abyss didn't get there, because I'm willing to bet you once again, most of the people that were probably voting in this poll, and the judges as well, didn't even probably watch Made in Abyss. That's the truth. And as for Cyberpunk, I would also say Cyberpunk was very unique too. Cyberpunk had some very stellar music. Very unique as well for typical anime, and I think it definitely stood out than the typical Suwano soundtrack, which nothing wrong with Suwano. I love Suwano, but I think that, you know, if we're just talking about best anime score that really carried a lot of tones and vibes and helped the scenes, I really do think Cyberpunk and Made in Abyss was one of those. And I think Made in Abyss was the strongest out of all of these in the category. And I would dare say if I was to choose, thinking of all the anime, I would still choose Made in Abyss. I think it was a good musical soundtrack. Now, best anime film. So we have Bells, Dragon Ball Super, Inuan, we have One Piece Film Red, and The Deer King. And this one's strange to me. The fact that Film Red is being counted when they didn't want to count the fall season. But anyways, we also have Jujutsu Kaisen. And once again, Jujutsu Kaisen winning popularity contest, yada yada yada. Yeah, makes sense. Jujutsu Kaisen. Once again, good film. Very good film. I like Jujutsu Kaisen. Very good series. But obviously it's going to win because, you know, yeah. But if we're wanting to look at this category and say what was my favorite, honestly, this might be a hot take. I actually really like the Dragon Ball superhero movie. I know that Bells is good. I like Bells. And I know Film Red is good as well, and Deer King and all that. I have actually not seen this one, so obviously I don't have a full understanding, and I'm going to admit that. I haven't seen this one. But I think that overall, what I at least seen out of these movies, I would go with Super. And now, I know people are going to say, but that's CGI, ew. Yeah, once again, I've always said, CGI doesn't mean it's bad. It doesn't. And I think that Dragon Ball Superhero was very fun. It was a very nice, condensed little story, given characters that don't normally have a lot of spotlight. It was just a very fun movie. I really liked Superhero. So, I would probably say that was my favorite film of last year. Now, moving on to Best Anime Song, which I feel like these categories are getting a little bit redundant. For instance, The Rumbling once again wins. It's like, we have opening, now we have song. Just, what's going on here? Why are we just... I don't know, this category feels, like I said, very redundant. Shouldn't even be here. But Attack on Titan wins, obviously. It's going up against Kaguya, One Piece Film Red, Shadow's House. I'm surprised Shadow House is here, by the way. Kaguya, Spy Family, Your Boy Kong Ming. I mean, obviously, when you compare all these songs, it makes sense why, you know, Attack on Titan won. I think it's surprising to see Shadow House here. I really wish Shadow House won, but, I think this is a very redundant category, and I'm not going to repeat myself. Best Anime Director. Obviously, Demon Slayer wins once again. Another category, starting once again, film like the Demon Slayer Awards, anything else. We have, like, Cyberpunk here, Spy Family, Lycoris, Ranking of Kings, and Attack on Titan Final Season. All very good directors in their own right. Nothing against any of these directors. They all bring tremendous work to what they work on. All these different anime sequences, etc. Well, once again, I just want to point out the fact that, like, we have One Piece not in this category, Summertime Rendering not in this category, people from, like, you know, the Dress Up Darling, you know, the director not in this category. It's really stunning to me that there's a lot of these anime that are just not here at all, and we just have the stereotypical Cyberpunk, Spy Family, Attack on Titan, Ranking of Kings, Demon Slayer. It's like, really? It's just like, come on. At least let us know that you watch all the anime on the platform, instead of just, like, putting these obvious popularity contest shows here. Just like, come on. But, I really think that all these directors in their own right bring great work, but if you want to know my personal favorite director of last year, I would say the director of, I'd probably say the director of Summertime Render, episode 16. The episode director for episode 16 was probably my favorite. I believe that's the episode. I could be wrong. Maybe it's episode 17. It's the action-packed high school scene. But that was my favorite director for the last year. I really loved that episode. Best main anime character. Eren Yeager. We have Boji from Ranking Kings, Lycoris, Cyberpunk, Spy Family, My Dress Up Darling, and obviously Eren winning. Once again, he's a good character, especially for the anime, so it makes sense why he won this if we're comparing the whole list. I do think he's better than David. I think David's a good character. I do think that Eren is better in terms of just like what we've seen from the anime. Boji is a really good character, and the fact that Boji didn't win is really disappointing. But once again, core 2. I think that Chisato is she's a good character executed right, but she's a very standard character. So I think that it makes sense why Eren won over her. Lloyd as well is a very standard character, like a father figure. So once again, it makes sense why Eren won. Marin as well is very standard for her genre. She's someone that's just about cosplay, etc. So I would probably say it makes sense why Eren won this if we're comparing all the characters here. But if I had to choose from this list, I'd probably go with Boji. But, you know, obviously he didn't win. But that would be probably my favorite main character of last year. Best supporting anime character. Anya. If we're looking at the support here, we got, like, Rebecca, we got, you know, Kage, we got Hayasaka, we got Tengen, Yor, and I want to keep it real. The fact that Spy Family is here twice is, like, disrespectful. That is completely disrespectful. I don't think Spy Family should be nominated twice in the same category. But, I think if I had to choose out of this list who is really good support, Hayasaka. She was really good supporting character for Kaguya. I think that she, hands down, was best supporting character. Easy. There's no denying that one. Best must protect at all cost anime characters, and I'm just... Why is this a category? That's what I gotta ask. But, so I'm gonna do the same thing I just said prior with Spy Family. I don't think Renki and King should be nominated twice in the same category. I don't think that's a good thing. I think that you should definitely limit it to maybe one series, like one character or something from per series. But the fact that we have, you know, Boji and Kage here, I don't really approve of that. Even though I like Renki and Kings, and I do think that these are very great characters, they both shouldn't be here. But, if we're going on this list, honestly, who should be protected, truly? If we're wanting to go down that route and say this, and we'll look at what's here, I would probably say Boji. Boji is definitely the one I would choose. Because I think that his character story is very fascinating. And once again, not a lot of people probably watched Ranking of Kings. But, obviously, that's not going to win, because it's not the most popular. Anya, Spy Family is. Best action anime. Don't need to say. But, so it's going up against Attack on Titan, Cyberpunk, JoJo, Lycris, and Spy Family. I wouldn't really call Spy Family and Lycris action. Okay, Lycris I'll give action. Lycris definitely has action, but I would not give Spy Family really action-packed like these other shows. So, it's kind of disrespectful to, I think, add Spy Family here, and when there's probably other categories and other anime from last year that could be put here in this spot. But, once again, it all comes down to popularity and eye candy, as I've already said in this video multiple times. I think that if we're talking about just best action in general, if we're talking about just how it looks, etc., I would probably say Cyberpunk should win this category out of these shows here, because the action of Cyberpunk, really freaking good. Really uncensored, really good, great movement. Yeah, I think Cyberpunk should win the category, hands down. And if I'm going to be fair and not use Cyberpunk, I would probably say maybe Attack on Titan. Yeah, I would say Attack on Titan. Now, best comedy anime. So, Spy Family here, Ya Boy, Uncle from Another World, which is like, wow, Uncle is actually being nominated for something. My Dress Up Darling, Kotaro, and Kaguya-sama. Now, for best comedy, I wouldn't say Spy Family wins this, hands down. I wouldn't even really say the comedy in Dress Up Darling is really the main focus either. I don't even think it's a comedy anime truly, so I wouldn't even really put Dress Up Darling here either. Now for best comedy, Spy Family wins, and the nominees underneath it is Kaguya-sama, Love is War, Kotaro, My Dress Up Darling, Uncle from Another World. I am surprised it's even here, honestly. It's just like, wow. They actually remembered Uncle from Another World. And then Ya Boy Kong Ming. And I'm impressed Ya Boy Kong Ming has appeared so much. I mean, good show. I'm very happy to see it appreciated that much. But, best comedy. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think that Spy Family is the best comedy. I don't. I think that it's good. It's a good little slice of life. Has some cute moments, etc. I don't think it's necessarily the best comedy I've ever seen. I would have to probably say if I was going to go by comedy beats, I would either put Uncle from Another World or Kaguya-sama as the comedy category for this. I would probably, if I was to say that made me laugh the most last year, I would probably say Uncle from Another World made me laugh the most. I would probably say I'd put that as my best comedy. Now, best drama anime. So we have Attack on Titan with Eren, obviously being a frontline center. We have 86, which... Why add 86 at all? Just to basically have it lose right at the start. This goes along with the part 2 thing and the cores. It's just like, why? Obviously, it wasn't going to win when you put it up against stuff like this, but you have Cyberpunk, you have Dance Dance, Kotaro, and Made in Abyss, and looking at this situation here, obviously it makes sense why Attack on Titan wins, because, it's a drama-filled story. I understand the themes of it's very complex. Makes sense why Attack on Titan would win, if we're just looking at it like that, and not obviously just because of popularity. Now, I know Dance Dance definitely trended and all that. I don't know, everything about it. I watched a little bit of it. I didn't finish it. Gonna keep it real. But I know Dance Dance is a pretty good one. Cyberpunk, really good drama. Made in Abyss is a very good drama, but I wouldn't say that's, the front main focus, so to speak, of it. 86 had a lot of drama. If I had to say the best drama for last year, at least out of this category, I would say 86. I would go with 86. I think it was a really good drama story, and if not that, I would go with Cyberpunk. That would definitely be one of the two I would select. Best fantasy. This one is what made me even want to make this video in the first place, because it is just so laughable of how bad this category is, and it proves the point of a popularity contest that, people that are voting on this, etc., hasn't watched most of this stuff. But on top of that, I'm going to break it down why it's bad. I'm just going to break it apart, okay? Call me biased, whatever. I'm going to break it apart. So, Demon Slayer won Best Fantasy, okay? And the nominees it was up against was Made in Abyss, Mushoku Tensei, Overlord, Ranking of Kings, and The Case Study. And I want to point this out, okay? Demon Slayer, if you remove the demons, I know that's the point of the series, it's demons, but if you were to remove the demons, it would be slightly less modern Japan setting. That's it. That's all it is. That's literally all Demon Slayer is. The setting of it and the world and everything is just modern day Japan, pretty much, a Japanese setting, and with some demons thrown in. Classic story, so to speak. And the fact that won Best Fantasy over these series, I'm just going to talk about, Made in Abyss. Literally, the world itself is Lovecraftian in nature. You have this giant pit that our characters are going down, and it's getting more hellish as they keep going down. The fact that didn't win alone is just crazy to me, because in terms of fantasy and uniqueness and diving into the depths of basically hell itself, whoa, that's crazy. Then Mushoku Tensei, which... peak fantasy experience. Push aside your bias towards or whatever, it is a really good fantasy world. And the fact that literally the very setting of it is just fantasy in a very different world, I'm surprised that didn't win. Then Overlord, once again, another unique world about following a guy that's literally an overlord and evil at that. It's whoa, how'd that not win? And then Ranking of Kings, as I already said in the video, it's modern day Studio Ghibli, set in a fantasy world, following this boy that's trying to be a king. The very fantasy of it's just wow. It's just, the fact that Demon Slayer won over these worlds that are just straight up fantasy worlds, unique and different, and not just say a modern day Japanese world, just with demons sprinkled in. How? How did that happen? I legit don't even know. And I know I'm biased. I know I am biased. But it's dumbfounding to me that Demon Slayer would win in this category. It's already won so many categories. The fact it won in Best Fantasy with Made in Abyss, Mushoku, Overlord, and Ranking of Kings in this nominations, I'm just bro, what in the hell? It don't make sense. It does not make sense whatsoever. But if I was to choose, I would do Mushoku. But if I'm not going to count Mushoku, I'm going to do probably Made in Abyss. The fantasy of the Lovecraftian nature of it is really freaking good. So, I would go Made in Abyss. Now, Best Romance. Kaguya. Makes sense, popular. I have nothing necessarily wrong with Kaguya winning this category. And, the nominees that went up against Call of the Night, Komi, Love After World Domination, My Dress Up Darling, and Shikimori. Surprised this is here. A lot of people didn't like that show. I know there's a lot of people that didn't like it, so I am even surprised it is here. But, Kaguya winning makes sense. Once again, very popular, but it is a good show. Call of the Night, I really like. And I think that it's definitely one of my favorites of last year. I think that Love After World Domination, I watched it after the show finished airing. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. I would probably say, if I was to choose this category, I would do Love After World Domination or Call of the Night. One of those two would win, because I love those two shows to death. I think they're really good, and that would win the Best Romance. Best Voice Acting Performance, Japanese. Makes sense why Aaron would be here. Say whatever you want. I do think that Yuki is a really good voice actor. He's done, time and time again, really good voice acting work, and I think that he really has mastered his craft, so I see nothing wrong with him winning this award. It is perfectly fine. It makes sense. He was going up against Anya from Spy Family, Chisato from Lycris, going from Jolene, Joestar from, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Fapita from Maiden Abyss, and also Tanjiro from, Demon Slayer. I think, overall, that if I was to choose in this category that isn't Aaron, I would probably go with Anya. I think Anya was a very good voice actor for who she was. So, yeah, I see nothing wrong with this category with, Aaron winning. Now, Best Voice Acting Performance English. Gonna keep it real. I did not watch all of these shows in English. I'm gonna keep it real. I watched pretty much everything in Japanese for the most part. I, however, did watch Cyberpunk in English and Japanese. I watched Dragon Ball, obviously, in English. And, that's about it. I haven't seen the others in English. I think that overall, if I was to choose, though, I'd probably go with Gamma 2. I really like Gamma 2's voice actor, in Dragon Ball Super. But, obviously, I haven't seen all this, so I can't really make a proper analysis of what's the best, at least from my personal perspective, if I haven't seen all of them. But, yeah, so that is the Crunchyroll Anime Awards. Overall, this isn't the worst year for Crunchyroll's Anime Awards. The only outliner is this one that really just makes me dumbfounded. And then the one with 86 as well added here. It's just like, why even add 86 if you're going to do that? But, I think that overall, the big issue, I think, with these awards is that I feel like if there's judges actually selecting these categories, the judges should be forced to watch all of these series. Actually watch every show that is being nominated and actually know what they're talking about. Because obviously if they don't, it's just going to be a popularity contest. They're going to say Attack on Titan, they're going to say Cyberpunk, they're going to say, Demon Slayer. That's it. That's the truth. I think that the judges that are voting in this should be required to know and at least watched all of these shows that they're commenting on. That is my 2 cents on the matter. Now, besides that, I think that overall, once again, not the worst year for the Anime Awards, but yeah. Well, tell me your thoughts. Do you think that these are the worst awards ever or not? Let me know in the comments below, but I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you so much for watching. Be safe, stay healthy. Chibi out.